Today, I'm going to walk you through 15 steps on how to have an easy delivery. This is especially helpful if you're hoping to have an unmedicated vaginal birth. However, if you're going to have an epidural, these tips are also helpful. I do not consider myself to be someone with a high pain tolerance, and I was actually really fearful of birth before I started doing this training and before I started watching the women that were birthing before me have these positive, amazing birth stories. And then of course I went to have 3 positive birth stories as well. And now I hear positive birth stories every day. I love it when you guys share with me how easy and painless your deliveries were. I honestly believe that you can create your own positive birth story and your easy delivery if you put the preparation in and you learn these strategies. Make sure you watch until the very end. I'm going to share a strategy that may trigger the fetal ejection reflex, which means no pushing for the mom at all, and the baby just comes right out. The first 5 steps are things that you can do during pregnancy to prepare, and the next 10 are things you're going to do during labor. Step number 1 is we want to stop sitting in slouched or reclining positions. Instead, we want to use sort of a forward leaning position. So for example, you could sit backwards over a kitchen chair, leaning forward on hands and knees. We want to spend lots of time here, or sitting on a birthing ball is going to create space in your belly for your baby to get into the optimal fetal position, which is going to have an easy delivery and create less pain. So if your baby is in a posterior position, sunny side up, and it's coming through, this is going to make it more difficult, increasing the pain and making a more difficult delivery. Step number 2 is working on your strength and stamina during your pregnancy. One of the most difficult parts of labor is not the pain, it is how long labor is, especially for first-time moms, and how exhausting it can be. So we want to be strong, we want to have stamina for that, for your birth. So I'm going to link to the whole pregnancy workout playlist, but these are the exercises that really helped me have an easy birth where I coped the whole way through. Number 3, you want to release and relax through your pelvic floor. Your pelvic floor is not going to push your baby out. Your uterus is going to push your baby out. And so you don't need lots of Kegels and strength for your birth. That's for your recovery after, so still an important part of pregnancy. But for an easy delivery, we really want to learn to relax and open up. So this may look like doing lots of stretches like yogi squat and butterfly pose. You can also take a tennis ball and sit on it and help release through your pelvic floor. You may also want to do perineal massage, and I have a video on exactly how to do perineal massage. I'm going to link to it there as well in the description box below. Step number 4 is to practice being in the now or being in the present during your pregnancy. At any one point, there is not too much pain during your labor. However, if you think you might have another 12 hours of this sensation, that can get overwhelming. So you really want to be able to focus your mind and stay on focusing on your current contraction. Just like anything, this can take practice. One of the things that I did was to practice breathing at the same time as visualizing something. So for example, you could practice a box breath where you inhale as you go up one side, exhale, inhale, exhale, and then you keep going around in your box. You could also take your hand and inhale as you go up one side, exhale as you go down your thumb, inhale up your finger, exhale down your finger, and so on. And this is going to keep you in the now on your current contraction, not thinking about what is coming ahead. Step number 5 is really being confident around your capabilities, listening to lots of positive birth stories, talking to other mothers, learning about what they did to have a positive birth story can really increase your confidence. I think it's also really important to be really clear about why you want to have an unmedicated or vaginal delivery. So for me, with my first baby at 24 weeks, we found out that he had a cleft lip, choroid plexus cyst, and a large renal pelvis. And there were about a couple of days where I was really afraid that he might have trisomy 18. Just that feeling of worrying about your baby not surviving, for me at that point, birth or delivery just became a non-issue at all, something that I wasn't afraid of. I knew that I could do absolutely anything for my baby, and so my confidence really increased in that, and I knew that I wanted to decrease any possible risks during that delivery, which is why I wanted to have an unmedicated birth. You also have the right to keep out stories that are scaring you. You don't have to listen to other people's story if they're making you nervous or not feeling excited or good about your upcoming birth. Their birth story will not be your birth story. Step number 1 for during labor is to set up a calm, safe, and as uninterrupted as possible. But the hormones, we really need to let your body know that you are safe, you are calm, you're in a safe place to deliver your baby. It is so common that things are going to be going well at home, and then when someone gets to the hospital, labor tends to slow down or stall. So birthing at home as long as possible is ideal. But even when you get to the hospital, you can bring eye masks, bring headphones or earplugs, let people know not to interrupt you, limit any unnecessary checks or interruptions, limit who is coming in to your birth. For example, you may want to put it in your birth preferences that you don't want students watching your birth. Number 2, it is so helpful to use movement and relaxation, listening to your body when you need most. So you can be doing slow dancing, you can be walking the halls, you can be sitting on the toilet, you can be bouncing on the ball, you can be doing lunges to get that asymmetrical movement. But when your body is tired, laying down and resting, this is actually when I moved into transition, is my body knew that it needed to rest and it was progressing very quickly at that point. Number 3, you want to have your positive birth affirmations, your confidence. You want to have your partner encouraging you. And you also want to know that when you get to the part of labor where you are questioning whether you can keep going, that is actually a good thing. It probably means that you are reaching transition and you're getting so close to meeting your baby. Number 4, using pelvis biomechanics to help your baby move through your pelvis. So in early labor, when you're waiting for your baby to drop down, you want to have external rotation and open hips to help the top part come up. And then as your baby is moving through, you may want to do some asymmetrical poses to help wiggle your baby through. And then when you are in the pushing phase, when your baby is crowning, you want to open the outlet of your pelvis. So you want to have your knees together and use internal rotation for the pushing phase. Number 5 is to choose a birthing position that uses gravity as well as a position that allows you to have movement of your pelvis. So this is going to allow for a less painful birth, a shorter birth, and a birth that is less likely to have any interventions like forceps or vacuums or C-section. It's really mind-blowing to me why so many women are still birthing on their backs. It is not using gravity, and the pressure on the sacrum is actually pushing the tailbone into where the baby is coming out and closing the outlet for the baby to come out. Even if you have an epidural, you can be on your side, supported by a person or a peanut ball, and then you still have movement of your pelvis as needed. Step number 6 is to use tools that are going to help you cope through your delivery. So for example, you could use a TENS machine on your lower back, you could squeeze a comb, you could use water in a shower or in a bath, you could use a rebozo. There's lots of strategies. I have a full guide on all of the strategies. I'm going to link to that guide in the description box below. Number 7 is to visualize what is happening in your body and to not fight your contractions and sort of just relax into the strong sensations rather than pushing them away. You have to go through that, and meeting your baby is on the other side of that. But it's helpful to know that the sensation that you're feeling isn't dangerous, it's not pain, it's not scary. It is simply your cervix opening up so that your baby can come out and through. And really your job is just to relax and to open and let your body do the work. Step number 8 is to fully relax between a contraction. Your uterus is working really hard during a contraction to help move your baby down and out. And when you get a break, it is so important to fully relax. Imagine you are lifting a weight and it's starting to burn. You can feel how hard your muscle is working, and you don't take the opportunity to break when you have the break, and then you have to pick it up again. It is just going to be that much more painful. But if you are fully relaxing between, it is going to be that much more bearable when you go for your next contraction. Step number 9 is to labor down, and not just to push because you are 10 centimeters. So sometimes your provider will check you and it'll say you're 10 centimeters, it's time to push. However, if you don't feel the urge to push, you could be doing a whole lot of work and frustration and it taking too long than if you relaxed and labored down until you felt the urge to push. So with my first baby, I didn't know about laboring down, and when I got to 10 centimeters, I was told to push, and I literally had broken blood vessels in my face because I had been pushing so hard. But in my third labor, I labored down, I waited, I actually heard myself grunting and felt my body bearing down, and I knew my body was ready to do the work, and I only had to breathe to support my body. Laboring down is one of the strategies that you can do to try to stimulate the fetal ejection reflex. The fetal ejection reflex is a reflex. So just like vomiting, it's where your body will just eject the baby out of your body and you're not doing any work at all. So for this, you need to be in a very calm and a safe space. It is less likely that it's going to happen at the hospital. It's usually happening at a home birth. However, it's still possible. Step number 10 is to breathe your baby out and allow the pushing phase to go slow, to allow your tissues to stretch very safely. We want to avoid closed glottis or purple pushing, where you're taking a big breath and then holding your breath and pushing for 10 seconds. You want to have a slow exhale down, and you're just supporting when your body is pushing. If you want more details on how to push and breathe your baby out exactly, I will also link to that video below. I really believe that our bodies are designed to birth. You are preparing your mind and body, and I really believe that you can create your positive birth experience. I literally hear so many positive birth stories every day now. I talked about a whole bunch of resources. I'm going to link to them all in the description box below. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to link to my video on how to do perineal massage to prepare your vagina for birth as well. Thank you so much for watching today. I know that you are going to do amazing in your upcoming birth. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below.